We're back for season 2.
Yes, it's bigger. It's badder. It's
Oh, just get on with it.
bad scripts.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Bad Scripts. It's Steve Jones here, as always, and joining me across the table, across the skies, and down in the big smoke yet again, Mr. Mike Garlia. Hi, Mike.
Hello, Steve. Coming at you. Week 7 in London now. It feels like it's never ending. Just feels like this is becoming my new home. Have I started picking up the accent yet? Can you tell?
Well, no, I'm not worried about that too much. You've been in Scotland how many years, and you've not picked that accent up at all. So
This is true. Thank you for pointing that one out. I thought I was starting to mingle with the locals, but in fact, I'm not, because every time I go outside this apartment building I'm in right now, I'm reminded that I'm probably 20 years younger than everybody else here, because I strongly suspect what I booked this week is student accommodation.
I think you mean 20 years older. You just said 20 years younger.
No,
You were
that
wishing
was
that.
not. That was on purpose. That was on purpose. Mature
You
student
wish.
accommodation.
So yeah, you're 20 years older than most of the people there, and you think it might be student apartments that you're staying in?
They are young and hip. You know that because in the lobby it's kind of real it's really high energy music down there, and there's a gym in this place and a swimming pool. And I was talking to the porter downstairs, and I said, what's the deal with this place? And he said, well, people pay like, 1,200 quid a month and they get everything included, their rent, their, taxes, their gas, electricity, whatever it is. And they get access to gyms, and there's a bar and a restaurant here and everything. And this is like a real self-contained environment. So no better place for me to scope this place out in a, not a leering way, but to acquire more stories for our show.
Well, who knows? Every day's life experience is another story we can tell. It's another adventure that our characters can have. So, what is better as a stimulus than your real life experiences?
This is true, and no Victorian ghosts. So that's a tick in the box as far as I'm concerned. I just get to stay in this groovy hipster style apartment, and you know what? I might come back. I might just come back here.
I get a feeling that you probably will. But it's not room 1408, is it? Definitely not.
Close. It's no, I'm not going to give my room away just in case there's any taps at the door at 2 o'clock in the morning.
You
No,
wish.
no, it's really nice. It's still on Canary Wharf, and I've been around. I've been around at quite a few different places. So if anyone is visiting London and the Canary Wharf area and would like accommodation tips and ideas, then give me a shout. I'm becoming an expert very, very quickly on this.
Fantastic. Well, look, we had a great response to last week's episode. So I can't wait to delve into this week's. What are your thoughts so far into the script? We've written this, so we know how it's going. We know what's coming up. But what are your thoughts about how the process has been in terms of writing this far? When we compare it to writing way back when, how have you found now we're several episodes into the season? How are you finding it?
Easier, actually. I think for me, when we sit down and write a scene, and a bit of insight here. Not Steve and I don't always write together, so one of us will write a scene, the other one will then look at it and review it and make a few edits and changes, and then we sit down to record it. And then other times we do write together. But for me, I think because we know our characters and our story so well, it almost writes itself. So I feel good. It's cathartic and it's enjoyable. For me, I just really hope that the people listening to this is going in the direction that you want it to go in. You're enjoying the story and seeing how it's playing out. For me, that's the biggest joy I get of this.
Yeah, absolutely. When we see those listener numbers ticking up, it really does bring warmth to your heart. And, we don't make any money doing this podcast. We do it for the fun and the joy of doing it. We enjoy, presenting this to you every week. And so as long as you guys keep listening, we'll try and keep bringing you fresh new content. So stick with us. On that mic, I think we probably are ready to dive back into the late 90s, into that seaside resort and get ourselves over to camp holidays.
It's all about the story, baby.
Interior, Alan's office, day. Alan's office is now complete. The walls are clad in expensive wood panelling. There are various industry awards adorning the shelves dotted around the office. His grand oak desk takes pride of place at the centre of the room. An impressive board table sits at one end. Alan opens an opulent cupboard door, which reveals a well-stocked drinks cabinet. He pours himself a large scotch into a crystal glass. He sits at his desk before pressing a button, which closes the automatic blinds covering the windows. Alan sits back in his chair, deep in thought and contemplation, before being disturbed by a knock on the door.
Come in.
John steps into the office and stops short, readjusting his gaze to the darkened space.
Bit dark in here. Mind if I turn on the lights?
Alan stands up from his desk to greet John.
I'd rather not, if that's all the same, John. The call is due to start soon. Fair enough. Have a seat. He'll be here soon. Can I get you anything? Water? Coffee? Soft drink? Something stronger?
John spies a glass of whiskey sitting on Alan's desk.
No, thanks, Alan. Bit early in the day for me, like. It's always 2 p.m. somewhere, isn't it?
Alan laughs as John sits down.
Well, while I've got you alone, Alan, I was hoping to speak to you about the way things are going around here.
Alan sits too and stares silently at John.
Well, you see, there's big decisions made that doesn't seem to include me or my team. It causes us problems, Alan. Flexibility. Pardon? Operational flexibility, John. Reacting to emerging situations, both known and unknown. No disrespect, Alan, but you don't need to talk to me about that. We're pretty bloody good at change, but when you make deals and decisions without keeping me in loop, it causes a whole host of problems.
The projection screen suddenly flickers into life, and Glenn appears via video link. Both Alan and John look over as the room lights up. Ah, Alan, good of you to join us.
Hi, Glenn. Busy day here. Just returned from the office in London.
I'm glad you made it on. I wanted to talk to you about the religious festival.
Well, about that. And the thing is...
Bloody brilliant, Alan. Sales were through the roof. Retail numbers were up 300% on the previous 5 years. I don't know what you did, but I fucking love it.
Yes. I thought so too.
Well done to the whole team.
Actually, John was just saying how well the weekend's gone. Right, John? Yeah. But I still have a few things I want to say about that. No need to thank us, John. We're a team here. I just did what you would have done, right? Inspired, if I do say so myself. Adapt, overcome, succeed.
John, good work. I'm glad you're here. I have something exciting to tell you both, so buckle up and get ready. Alan and John look at each other with puzzled expression. At this moment, the door flies open in dramatic fashion, and in walks Bernie, wearing a pair of velvet trousers and an oversized knitted cardigan. Glenn, darling, I came as soon as you called. Perfect timing. Sit, Bernie. You'll want to hear this too. Bernie takes a seat next to the other side of Alan. Currently, this place can hold 7,000 visitors, a substantial number, the largest of its kind in the UK. Alan smiles proudly and looks to the others, who nod cautiously. But if we're going to bring in the big acts, the big shows, we need more. Next slide, please. On the big screen, a map of the resort is displayed in its current format. We've looked over the current layout, and there is a major opportunity to build a block of state-of-the-art apartments, expanding our capacity to over 10,000. Next slide. A new version of the map is displayed. This time, the Southern Staff Chalet block is no more, and in its place are 4-storey luxury apartment blocks. Alan has been busy in London this week, completing a deal to purchase a small plot of land on the road opposite the site, currently occupied by a caravan park. Alan, please can you expand on this? Alan smiles and sits up tall in his chair.
I've successfully negotiated the purchase of the Happy Holidays Caravan Park, not only for the 2 acres of land, but for the caravans as well. Well, what state are caravans in? Bit of a mixture, some newer, some older, most needing a bit of work, but all are habitable.
And as you can see, this means we can move personnel over from the staff quarters over to the new auxiliary site. We'll then demolish the old blocks to begin construction on our new premium accommodation.
That's a bit fancy. So what time frame are we looking at for the demo work? November? December?
Glenn barely laughs and Alan joins in. Good one. The bulldozers roll next week. The apartments have been fabricated in Germany and will be on site in 3 weeks, completed in 4, just in time for our full season opening.
But we've got guests on site already. What about the health and safety? It's all in hand, John. Don't you worry.
John's face is red with anger at yet again being left out of the loop.
Half of the new employees have only just moved in. Now we've got to shift them all across road. Bloody hell.
I have every faith you can sort it out between you. Bernie sits upright in his chair. Well, how about this then, Glenn? We have auditions starting this week for the big show. It's looking fair, by the way, musical time travel extravaganza. Why don't we move all of the performers over to the caravans? Then the cast can move straight in when they arrive. Then it's just a case of moving a few of the plebs to another chalet. It'll be like a, travelling circus.
Travelling circus? Oh, wait, hang on. So that bloody lot get the good stuff again? What about everyone else? This place doesn't just revolve around the bloody entertainments team, you know. Anyone remaining will be rehoused over to the west of the resort, just over there.
John studies the map and sees where Alan is pointing to. So, Bernie, talk to me about this big, amazing show idea. Oh, it's going to be the biggest thing this resort has ever seen. Imagine a show that celebrates the history of camp. This being a centenary year, of course, whilst transporting it into the future. It's a musical, a celebration of styles through the history of music and dance. Act 2 blasts us into the future. I'm talking laser light show, 3D cinematic backdrops, original music, and the finale. An explosive fireworks show.
This sounds oddly familiar.
It sounds complicated. Well, you did want big and bold, Glenn, darling. It doesn't get any grander than this. I'll need singers, actors, and dancers, the full works. Acrobats, jugglers, contortionists.
We still have our agreement with the Slovakian State Circus. I could see who they have available.
Oh, perfect. Glenn shuffles in his seat, looking perplexed, and he's just about to speak when John suddenly interrupts, still staring at the resort map.
Are we actually being serious here? There's no... them lot over there, they're no better than sheds. We can't do that. So what do you suggest?
John thinks for a second.
Can you give me the caravan details? We'll look at the sizes and we'll fill them up first. Not just with ents either. There'll be a mixture. It's got to be fair.
I'm not sure that will work, Jim, love. It was just an idea, though. I mean, I apologize profusely for speaking out loud. I think it's a fantastic idea. John, get your guys over there to tot up the vans. We only want the best for our stars. Yes. We must look after the talent, darling. I'm sure you can manage that, Jim. John's face appears even redder.
It's John.
Quite well, John. Please ensure I get a nice corner plot somewhere discreet and not overlooked.
As I've said, We'll review and come up with a plan. That's fair. Best I can suggest. John, you're the man for the job. Make it happen.
Good stuff. Then it's settled. Bernie, you can tell the Ents team that it's happening. Alan, I'll leave you with the contractors. And John, work your magic on those vans. Glenn clicks a button on his desk and the projector switches off. The blinds automatically open and fill the office with light. John's eyes squint as lights cascade over his face. His scarlet cheeks betrayed his composed expression.
Alan, this is absolutely fucking ridiculous. John, you need to get on the bus here. Help me to move things forward. This is the way Glenn likes to work, and frankly, so do I. But, no buts, John. You need to get on board with our new way of working, and soon.
Well, I'm glad I could solve your accommodation problems anyway. Bernie stands and meanders to the door. Must fly, I've got a show to prepare for. Bernie leaves before John can reply. John takes a deep breath and composes himself before turning back to Alan, the red in his cheeks dissipating slightly.
Alan, how long have we known each other? 20-odd years, yeah? 27 years, John. A bloody lifetime. So why are you keeping me out of the loop all the time? It'll be easier to be on board without constant surprises and the plans changing every 2 minutes. It's not right.
Alan stands and places a friendly but firm hand on John's shoulder.
Camp Holidays is changing, John. The industry has moved. We're competing with big budget airlines and cheap holidays to Alicante. We've got to change with it. Show the world that the British holiday market is still relevant or will go extinct. I get that, Alan. I'm not against it. I just need my place at the table, you know? I hear you loud and clear. Thank you. I guess I better go and get the vans checked over for the bleeding entertainers. That's the spirit. I will do it my way though, Alan, as long as that's clear. Oh, we hear you, John. As long as you start with the entertainers. What is it about them lot you like so much? They're easy to work with. If we want to attract the best talent, then we have to look after them. I don't agree, but it looks like I haven't got much of a choice, really. Good. Now don't let me keep you, John. I know you're a busy man.
John stands from his chair, buttons up his jacket, and leaves the office. Alan returns to his seat and proceeds to light a large cigar before swivelling round in his chair.
Does he go wee when he goes around in a circle?
Yeah, he swiveled rather than span. I thought swiveled was more of a slow motion rather than spinning around, lifting his legs off the ground. Yeah,
he's a Bond baddie.
It feels a little bit Bond villainy in his office, you know, like they've gone for that. He's gone for that power zone in there with the wood paneling and everything. Even though I think the building it's in is quite a modern building, he's wanted that old sort of bank boardroom feel to it to give him that sense of status. And it, you know, I drew inspiration for that one from a place in right opposite the Bank of England when I was working down in the Big Smoke where you are now, and I was delivering some training for some guys, and the room I got to do it in. Normally, you go into these places, don't you? And it's like corporate rooms with the like the modern partition walls and everything's white and cream, but this was like an amazing boardroom, and they had like a exhibits from this bank's history, and you know, they had a timber that was taken from the oldest bank in Britain or something. It was incredible, like spectacle, and there was just an air of authority about this place, and that's kind of how I thought Alan's office would look. So taking it from that, I think he's kind of a bit old school still, and he likes that sense of power that gives him,
like a rich mahogany type smell,
like a deep mahogany, like a leather. Like a
leather, yeah.
Like a leather and good steak and some red wine and whiskey chaser.
Yeah. That's definitely he's gone native, hasn't he, John?
Oh, absolutely.
Not John, sorry, Alan. And just an observation that we never picked up on, obviously, that I'd like to pull out. How many different shades of red are we going to describe John's face turning into?
Well,
That man is close to a heart attack.
I think it's the anger, though, isn't it? Because he's constantly being left out of the loop, and he's feeling like he's sort of neutered because all of this stuff's happened. You know, you've got to imagine they've known each other a long time. It suggests that John has been there for years and years and years and knows his job. And suddenly, after all these years, these decisions are being made without his knowledge, and stuff's being thrown in. And essentially, he's the guy that's got to make it work. Similar to Mark's situation, you know, when stuff's getting thrown at him. But we've not seen this side of it before. So it's nice to see, you know, this operational team and what they're going to do, and hopefully we'll see a bit more of them over the course of the script.
So it must be quite fair then, because I don't know about you. Are you a blusher, Steve? Because I'm not genuinely blusher. You don't really. I don't get. My face doesn't go red when I'm under pressure or I'm angry, and it just goes a deeper shade of orange. I think nervous.
I'm a shaker with the adrenaline, you know, because I'm a shaker anyway, because I have sort of a thing where my nerve endings they're not quite close enough together, so I have a little bit of a tremble all the time. People think I'm a recovering alcoholic or something, but I'm not. I am teetotal, but it's nothing to do with alcohol problems. But no, so I do shake a bit. So then that can be accentuated when you have a little bit of adrenaline in your system, and I do end up having a little bit of a trembly hand, which sometimes betrays your sense of anger because you look like you're frightened. I don't know if you've come across that, and it makes you more angry, and then you end up shaking more. So it's a weird one.
I've just got this incredible image of you stood there talking to someone who, when you're at your most nervous and your right leg is just shaking uncontrollably, but you're trying to ignore it, and they're trying to ignore it while they're talking to you, but it's just getting worse and worse and worse.
So I was essentially shaking like a squatting dog.
I tend to talk a lot. I tend to talk under great stress and pressure.
Keeping going so nobody can get a word in and challenge what you're saying, because that's the easiest way to make sure you can regain your composure.
The problem is though, when I'm in a boardroom and I get really challenged, what I tend to do though is I am talking, but I'm also going la 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 la. I can't hear you what you're saying. La la la. But la 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 la.
Not obviously verbally. That's just in your head. That's what's coming out.
Well, I didn't think it was coming out loud, and then someone pointed out that it actually was. So
okay, well, maybe people think he's far too much of a lunatic to question him. So, you know, just let him carry on.
I did go through a stage though of being quite random thoughts, and then I don't know if you've ever been in a room with anyone or anyone else as where someone just bursts out laughing for no reason. Like they just start laughing, but you don't know why they're laughing, and I've been in rooms where I've been that guy that just, because, sometimes you're in really boring meetings and my overactive imagination drifts off. And there has been times where I thought, I wonder what would happen if I just jumped on the desk right now and just started doing a little bit of a tap dance or something. And then imagining me doing it makes me laugh. And a couple of times when I've been in meetings, I have burst out laughing, and then everyone's looked at me and I've had to apologize and go, no, sorry, I'm just thinking about something. And then at some point someone's going to go, well, what are you thinking about? And then you don't have an answer to that.
Yeah, you daren't vocalize what you were thinking, because it's just not, people be like, you weren't thinking about work. You weren't thinking about the important meeting we're having right now. You were thinking about tap dancing in your pants on the table. It's fine.
No, just thinking about their reaction to me doing it, which is what made me laugh. And everyone's shocked, going, "What the hell is this mentalist doing now?" I don't know. Sometimes my brain goes there. Sometimes.
Yeah, I think we all go there, don't we? We all drift off from time to time. When we're in one of those meetings that could have been an email. We've all been there. So great scene. It's good to see that things went well with the religious weekend, because there was a nerves going on there about that going to be. Is it all going to kick off? But it sounds like largely it wasn't a problem, and everything sort of went by. But another sign that the team pulled together and managed to make it work.
Yeah, I think so. I think Bernie got off with a bit of an easy ride there, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, he's Glenn's man, isn't he? So he's already, Glenn's courted him. He's the only one that Glenn's brought in. The rest are the legacy. Alan and John and Mark and that. They were already there. Whereas Bernie is someone he's gone after. He's gone to the West End. He's gone, get me a director that can, and I'll entice him over, probably with a large salary, to come and be our creative director. So I think that gives him a little bit of leeway because he's in that unique position that the other guys aren't.
Yeah, and now we are getting the chance to sail towards the auditions.
Exactly, and I think they're coming up very soon.
Interior Ali chalet.
Ali, wearing just her underwear, climbs out of bed and goes to the bathroom. We hear her washing her face and brushing her teeth. Her alarm starts beeping as she comes back in, and on the digital dial, it reads 10 a.m. She hits the snooze button, shutting off the sound.
Why set an alarm on your day off?
The voice is coming from under the covers as Ali sits on the bed and pulls the quilt away.
So I don't waste the whole day sleeping. Morning. Morning, Adam.
Adam smiles, casting his eyes over her semi-naked body.
That was fun last night. Yeah, it was. And unexpected.
Ali smiles cheekily.
Now, things we do when we're lonely. Oh, so was that the only reason? A bit of harmless fun doesn't hurt anybody. And here was me thinking it was my flawless abs and 9-inch pleasure stick. Jesus, it's one thing saying it out loud. That's your line, you bastard. Right. Okay, I'll give it again. And here was me thinking it was my flawless abs and 9-inch pleasure stick. I think you're getting your inches and centimeters mixed up.
They both stare at each other, then burst out laughing. Ali stands up and walks towards the window.
What are you doing? I'm just opening the curtains, getting some light into the room.
Adam sits up, his glistening abs clearly on show.
Don't open them yet.
Wow, that was sinister. That was really sinister. Don't open them yet.
Okay. I'll do it.
Do not open the door.
Oh, you bastard. What have you written? What have you written? Right,
You
okay,
wrote this.
so-
You wrote this, right? This summer.
All right. Oh, don't open them yet. There we go. That's better. Don't open them yet.
Ali turns to look at him. She looks radiant in front of the window.
Because when you do, it really will be tomorrow. So technically, we're still on tonight.
Ali steps towards the bed.
I don't know what that means. Yes, you do.
I just can't read this line. Adam pulls the quilt off him to reveal his nakedness as he presents himself in full to Ali.
I can see someone else is awake. Well, why don't you come here and say hello then? We wouldn't want to waste it.
Ali smiles in a shy kind of way. She licks her lips, her saliva glistening as she stares hungrily at Adam's throbbing member.
Breakfast in bed. Yummy.
Adam nods as Ali undoes her bra, letting it drop to the floor. Adam reaches out to her ample bosom as she sits on top of him. They kiss deeply as Adam runs his hands all over her body, kissing her neck. Ali lets out a series of small moans as they start thrusting onto one another. Adam reaches out to her ample breasts as she sits on top of him. They kiss deeply as Adam runs his hands all over her body, kissing her neck. Ali lets out a series of small moans as they start thrusting onto one another. Now, I don't know about you, but the thrusting onto one another sounds like some sort of, I don't know, like a game of bumpies. You know, when you're a kid, you run against each other and just bounce off.
I think it's a bit slappy, isn't it?
It's a bit
hear
slappy
a bit of slapping,
noise.
a bit
There's a-
skin slapping on skin. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
yeah.
But you know what? These guys, they're consenting adults. They're having a bit of fun. It looks like there's no kind of There's no commitment to anything more than a little bit of friends with benefits here, I think. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are the scene plays out the way it's played out, but it's really hard to say some of these lines out loud. Like, even I've got to say, I mean, you heard it, and I'm trying to contain laughter because I'm reading ahead and I'm seeing what's coming. I don't think a single kind of early 20s, late teenage girl has ever, in the history of the entire universe, has ever looked at someone's penis and said, breakfast in bed, yummy.
Well, I hate to burst your bubble, but no, I'm just kidding. No, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because this stuff, when we write it, we kind of go, oh, that's quite funny. It's a bit sexy. It's a little bit naughty. It's a little bit, a little bit romance novel-y almost to some extent. And we're getting a little bit of naughtiness in there, which I think everybody enjoys a little bit of naughty. But then when we have to act it out, when we have to say those words, it's very different from writing it down and reading it, because suddenly you have to own those words. You have to make them come to life. And that...
It's true, but when I hear a line like breakfast in bed yummy, my kind of immediate reaction was ketchup on mayo.
Well, I think we all know it's going to be mayo. Anyway, let's move on and see if we can squeeze in another scene. Interior Entertainment's office, day. Mark is sat at his desk reviewing some paperwork when Donna appears at the door. She knocks lightly and waits. Mark, sensing a present, looks up and waves Donna to enter. Did he not notice the knock? He just sensed a presence. There was a knock and he was like, dun, dun, dun. I noticed your presence here.
I noticed a presence. You don't need to knock, Donna. Open door policy. Come in.
Oh, sorry.
Don't be silly. Have a seat.
Donna sits down in front of Mark. She looks nervous and upset. Mark spots this and puts his pen down, giving her his full attention.
Presenting himself to her.
No, that was the scene before. We're all good.
Yeah. What's wrong, Donna? You've not been yourself for a while.
Donna starts to look visibly upset. She's trying to hold back the tears, but is failing. They begin streaming down her face. Mark stands up and walks around his desk, sitting on the chair next to her. He hands her a box of tissues. Donna takes one and dabs down her eyes. I'm sorry, Mark. I'm being silly.
Don't worry. Give yourself a minute.
I'm okay. Really. I'm just having a moment.
So tell me what the problem is.
Well, it's kind of the job. It just seems different. It doesn't feel the same. I'm sorry. It's just hard to describe it.
Okay. Donna, this is quite a common thing, when you do a second season. The first is new and exciting, and the second, you know your stuff.
As Mark says this, Kelly enters the entertainment's office and walks to Wayne's desk. Donna looks over as Kelly makes direct eye contact.
Kelly, can you give us the room for a minute, please?
Kelly stares at Donna.
Aye, no bother. I'll be in wardrobe if you need me for anything.
Kelly slowly leaves the office. Mark looks at her and then back at Donna.
You were saying?
You're right. I'm just being silly, honestly, Mark.
If you don't tell me what the issues are, I can't help. Are you thinking of leaving?
No, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to.
But it's the job in general you're not enjoying.
I guess so.
We can look at your duties. Those fixes are easy. What is it you don't enjoy?
Well, I don't know. I think it's just, the job. Mark thinks for a second, considering his next question.
Okay, let's look at this from a different angle. What is it you do enjoy?
Well, the kids. I love working with the kids, doing all sorts of things. Being silly, doing the arts and crafts. That part is a lot of fun.
The kids, eh?
Mark thinks for a second, and a smile crosses his face. He gets back up and walks to the side of the desk, sitting down to once again face Donna.
Have you spent much time in kids' club?
Not really. I've covered for an hour or two there, here and there.
Did you enjoy it?
Well, I did, yeah. Actually, it was a bit of fun, yeah.
Well, you know Pam.
Aunty Pam.
Yes, Aunty Pam. She's looking for a bit more support. A lot of the kids' reps are really new. You fancy working in there for a few days a week?
Really?
I can think of no one better. We'll put you in on a trial basis, and Aunty Pam, will need to approve you.
Well, when did you want me to start?
No time like the present. We'll get you off all your coat duties, and you can start straight away. Providing you want it, of course.
Donna looks a little shocked. Well, I'd love to. Mark claps his hands in delight.
Excellent. I'll put in a call with Pam, and I'll let her know you're on your way.
Donna stands up, smiling broadly, a weight lifted off her shoulders. Oh, thank you so much. Really, thank you.
No problem. My door is always open, Donna.
Kelly re-enters the room once again. Donna looks at her and smiles as she leaves.
Am I all right coming back in? Yes, Kelly. Can you let Wayne know to take Donna off the rota? Her duties will need to get covered as well. Everything all right? Fine. All right. I'll get on with it then.
We follow Kelly into the hallway as she strides with purpose, catching up with Donna.
What did you say in there?
Nothing. We just had a chat.
Well, he's a busy guy. Next time you want to speak to someone, you come to me. I'm the camp supervisor. Remember, all right?
Like we could ever forget, Kelly.
You giving me cheek now?
No, Kelly. Of course not, Kelly. Would I ever, Kelly? Donna smiles sweetly and turns her back on Kelly before walking away. Mushy P saunters past, walking like he hasn't got a care in the world.
Yeah.
Mushy stops short and looks at Kelly.
What's your Kelly? How's it going? What are you doing? Well, I'm just on a break. Aye. This is a working office. Either take your break in the green room or fuck off out of here. In fact, go and empty those bins in there. All right, but, that's not my job. It is if I tell you. Now just go and do it, all right?
Kelly storms off. Mushy P shrugs it off and casually walks right past the green room, down the stairs and out into the fresh morning air, whistling happily to himself. Well, he's not bothered, is he?
No, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. Hey, we should all be a bit like Mushy P and just not care.
Exactly, and I think Kelly's lashing out there, isn't she? And she seems to have lost her hold over Donna there with the way Donna reacted to her. We've never seen Donna sort of stand up to her before, even if it was a bit passive aggressive. She didn't actually go for her. She just, didn't feel intimidated by her.
It's as June and Johnny once said, times are a changing.
Donna giving up camp coat duties to go and work in the kids club for a bit, see how things go there.
I think it marks the start of a bright future. It doesn't really feel like a lot has happened in these last few scenes, does it? But I think as far as threading those story arcs together as we start to come towards the end of this portion of the series, some things have to, I suppose, come to fruition, don't they?
I mean, I think although we didn't have a lot of action in those scenes, apart from Adam and Ali, they seem to have quite a bit of action. There's a lot of pivotal decisions that have been made there that are going to influence the rest of the script. So I think there's a key point here in 3 scenes where we've seen big things happening, and might seem small at this point, but there's definitely impacts from what's just occurred. So, I think good things to come. And it's nice to have a bit of funky and sexy behavior going on in camp, because let's face it, it's rife in a place like this.
It's right, and I've got to admire Adam's logic that don't open the curtains, don't open the door, don't see in the day, because technically speaking, it's still last night.
Yeah, it's that Friends paradox. We're still in London, isn't it? That's that thing that we're talking about, and with yourself being in the big smoke, I suppose that is really as poignant as anything. So, Mike, if we think about the booty call that Adam and Ali ended up in, we didn't see any of the build up to that. We don't know who instigated that. I mean, we know Adam's a bit of a player these days, but did you ever back in the day find yourself in the position where there was a chalet you would knock on if you felt particularly amorous?
Not once and not ever, Steve, as you very much, as you know, I was always a gentleman, and I won't ask you about your history, because I know that.
No, it's fine. I don't mind divulging a bit. I mean, I must admit, and I'm not proud of this now, but there was a particular employee who was employed at the same time that quite often at sort of 1 a.m. after a night out, walking past the chalet, I would occasionally knock, and
were you like a warden? Did you have your set of keys and you'd like walk past whistling,
knowing he was coming down the? It was
tapping the door. Are you awake?
Yeah, I mean, we all knew what it was, and it was just a bit of fun. It was fine. It was consenting adults and what have you. But I mean, you don't look back on these things proudly. You think maybe the other person had different feelings about the situation and liked you, but when you're that young and you're in these situations and the opportunity arises, sometimes you make bad decisions. And I think at that point I made multiple bad decisions. So I own it now, and I try and be a better person for who I am now, and happily married and all that. So it's all good.
I have been the recipient of said action, though.
Oh, have you? You were the booty that got called upon.
I think we lived in a caravan together. You were there at the time, except it wasn't what you think it was. So it was around Halloween time, and I didn't go to the Halloween party, and there was a cast members Halloween gathering, not a cast I was in, I might add, so I didn't really know anybody. But a girl did find a way back to the caravan, and we used to have our door open all the time.
Well, it was unlocked, mainly because we lost the keys.
It was unlocked, yeah. It wasn't open, it was unlocked. And I found myself waking up next to a girl next to me who was covered in blood. Head to toe, covered in blood. Head to toe. Yeah.
Did you think you'd had some sort of psychotic episode and had attacked?
No. Well, there's a part of thinks, oh shit, what happened? And what did I do? Have I blacked out? Kind of thing, that always goes through your mind. But I did see her, and I'm thinking, who the hell is this girl? And she was in bed with me, and it just so happened I wasn't wearing any clothes, so I had to negotiate. I didn't know who she was, and I had to negotiate my foot outside of the bed to try and find my jeans, but I didn't want to disturb her and wake up and then bring attention to the fact that I was wearing nothing at all. And I managed to get my jeans on, and she was
I love, before you go any further, I love about that. This person has come into your bed while you're asleep, and you're concerned about disturbing her with the fact that you don't have any clothes on, even though she's invaded your personal space.
It was a non-shave day, Steve. Okay, and we all know how we feel about that. Okay, a bit of bush is Anyway, I managed to get my jeans on and then lay there, and it was very gloomy. And she was in a white dress and she was covered in blood. And it's a Halloween party. Can you guess who she was dressed as?
I'm gonna guess Carrie.
She was dressed as Carrie. That's right. I remember the next morning, and she kind of opened her eyes and she looked at me, and I'm like, I didn't sleep a wink all night, by the way. I was just staring at her, wondering what was going to happen. Like, my eyes were just, and she turned and looked at me. I must have just like, I was staring at her. And she was like, morning. And I'm like, hi. And she went, and then the penny dropped who she was. And she literally went, oh, I look a bit of a mess, don't I? And I went, just a bit. And my bed sheets are covered of dried fake blood. And she went, do you know, I just want to say thanks. Most guys would have come on to me if I got into bed with them last night, but you didn't. You were a real gentleman. And I didn't say anything. I just kind of smiled, and she got up and she left. But in my mind, I'm thinking, if you could see what I saw, there's not a chance in hell.
Well, you know,
to be fair, just to end that story on a positive, to be fair, I did start dating this particular person anyway. And in fact, this particular person was the first person I ever watched the Texas Chainsaw Massacre with when it was unbanned. And we had a bit of a movie night. So that is almost my memory of that film, which was apt considering that she looked like she'd been massacred by a chainsaw when she got into bed with me. So it was rather pertinent.
Nice. Well, thank you for sharing that story of uninvited bedroom antics that weren't of a sexual nature. So that's a nice story. Thank you, Mike, for sharing that. And I don't remember that happening. So it's always good to hear a story I haven't heard before, because obviously we've usually heard all of each other's stories 10 times over. So that was fun. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in again, as normal. It would be amiss of me not to leave with our usual ending, which is to ask Mike for his words of wisdom for this week. So I'm going to hand over to Mike now, and you can tell us what your words of wisdom are today.
I'm going to end on a romantic note, which I think is rather pertinent. So, listeners, next time you're with your partners and you wake up in the morning, don't seize the day just yet. Take a moment, look at each other, and then say out loud, breakfast in bed. Yummy.
And on that note, thanks for joining us. We'll catch you next week on the Bad Scripts podcast. Goodbye.
Bad Scripts was written and performed by Mike Garlia and Steve Jones, a Beach Tide production.